tonight on CBC Vancouver News.
We're looking at all options and continue to look at all options.
BC is not ruling out vaccine passports as cases of the COVID Delta variant keep rising. Also,
it was the most avoidable situation.
the family of a woman who died during BC's brutal heat dome says more must be done to prevent deaths like hers in the future.
Christine Sinclair! She just broke the record!
I mean, she is the architect for the success in this country.
And BC prepares to cheer on Canada women's soccer at the Olympics with Burnaby's own leading to gold.
This is CBC Vancouver News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. BC's COVID-19 case numbers are spiking again, despite the province upping its vaccination campaign with walk-ins and pop-up clinics. Now, health leaders say they're not ruling out a vaccine passport like Quebec is planning to introduce. With the threat of a fourth wave looming in that province, Premier François Legault says rising COVID case numbers make the passport necessary. People in Quebec are going to need them to go into non-essential places like restaurants and gyms. Dr. Bonnie Henry says they're looking at all options here, though no one will be denied essential services if they're not vaccinated. However,
There are some services where people who work in those industries, and we think of healthcare as an essential public service, that we need to make sure that we are protecting healthcare workers, protecting the healthcare system, and the people that we care for. And so
it will be increasingly necessary in many workforces, in many forms of work, particularly in healthcare, to be able to demonstrate that you're vaccinated, because there will be consequences if you're not.
here in Vancouver, some people say bring on a passport of vaccines here.
That's the only way you could make sure that people are safer and we know who's vaccinated and who's not. Now we don't know.
It will support the population in getting in line with being fully vaccinated.
I have it, then I know that the other people there should also have it. So it would make me feel more safe.
To the numbers now. As we said, COVID cases are rising again in BC. The province recorded 402 new confirmed cases today. That's the highest daily total since mid-May. Again, the majority of those cases are in interior health. 58 people are in hospital, 21 in intensive care. Thankfully, there are no new deaths to report in the past 24 hours. As doctors in the United States report on an uptick in children with COVID in hospitals there, parents in BC are questioning if we could be next. The CBC's Zara Premji has more on what families are looking for to protect their unvaccinated kids.
For 7-year-old Jameson, living with a respiratory condition has meant added fears for his parents during the pandemic.
We are feeling like sitting ducks at this point.
He's under 12, so for now, there's no COVID-19 vaccine available for him.
I'm scared, I'm stressed, I'm frustrated, and rightly so. I think everybody should be concerned for these kids.
McLeod says watching the virus hit more children in the U.S. has magnified those fears here at home.
This is a massive threat for us, like nobody's business. The kid can't even get a cold.
She's not alone. Texas pediatric Dr. Heather Huck took to Twitter to share what she's been seeing over the last few days, saying she sees infants, children, and teens with COVID pouring back into the hospital. And she worries the Delta variant, in addition to being more contagious, may also be more virulent in children. But here in BC, the story isn't the same.
in children under 12 in particular, we've not seen very many cases in that age group.
But last month, Canada's Chief Public Health Officer, Dr. Theresa Tam, warned there is a risk of outbreaks in non-vaccinated populations, a reality McLeod hopes BC is alive to with school just around the corner.
We have no means of protecting these kids under 12, so now we have to resort to continuing with mass social distancing, which we are doing regardless, right? But now we have a situation where perhaps the school system isn't set up to deal with this level of variant.
So we are watching that, and as we go into the fall, of course, we'll be watching that as well.
And McLeod says she hopes that includes more preventative measures in schools before children's cases rise.
Rather than like dawdling and delaying, how are we going to approach this quicker, faster?
Health officials say right now the best line of defense is for everyone who can get vaccinated to get vaccinated. Zara Premji, CBC News, Vancouver.
After numerous attempts on his life, including a targeted shooting in Kelowna last week, police now say a man well known to them is dead. RCMP confirmed Kyle Giannis died overnight at a campground near Enderby. Police responded to a call of two women being stabbed. Mounties say officers found a man as well suffering what appeared to be self-inflicted injuries. First responders tried to save him, but Giannis died at the scene. Police say the two women have non-life-threatening injuries. Giannis has been targeted for death several times, most recently this July 31st shooting in Kelowna that also injured another man. And CBC News has confirmed Giannis was the intended target of a shooting that killed nurse Paul Bennett in Surrey in 2018. New evacuation orders have been issued for people living north and east of the White Rock Lake fire in the BC interior. The BC Wildfire Service says the fire burning northwest of Vernon is their #1 priority. 270 more properties were ordered to clear out last night. The White Rock Lake wildfire has grown to more than 320 square kilometers. Wind has been a challenge for the 136 firefighters working to control that blaze. Heavy smoke is now forcing the closure of Highway 97 between Salmon River Road and Monty Creek. Residents on evacuation alert are being asked to prepare to leave now. As for the rest of the province, there are now 290 active wildfires, the majority of which are in the interior and Okanagan. 40 new fires have been spotted in the past 2 days. Emergency Management BC says more than 4,000 properties are on evacuation order, 21,000 on evacuation alert, and more than 8,000 people have registered as evacuees. The BC Wildfire Service says 3,600 people are helping with the firefighting efforts. They're asking people to give those firefighters resting in camps around the province a bit of space.
When they come back to camp at night, they have worked a long day. They need to have a shower and get dinner, and then they crawl into their tent in the middle of a field and try to get some sleep. So I would really encourage the public to kind of respect their privacy. It's some of the few moments of peace that they get.
McCulley says they're concerned about staff fatigue as the season drags on. They're also requesting people taking photos or videos of wildfire aircraft pull over to the shoulder of the road for everyone's safety. The family of a woman who died during BC's brutal heat wave is calling for more accountability. Nearly 600 people died as that heat dome sat over us. Joel Ballard has more on the frustration and pain of their loved ones.
Annie Brown was the ultimate Nana, not just to her grand and great-grandchildren, but also to her community.
She was like the Nana of Lonsdale, really.
She couldn't walk a block without stopping and chatting with a friend or a stranger. Spontaneous hugs weren't uncommon either.
She is the light of the party, very social, very caring.
Brown died on June 30th during BC's record-breaking heat wave, found on the floor of her apartment, still wearing her nightie, her pills scattered, a small fan offering little relief from the blistering heat. Now, Gab is forced to pack up her Nana's home, piece by piece, memory by memory.
It was the most avoidable situation if we had been planned better. I know that she would still be here with us right now.
When Gaba, a mother of two, arrived at her Nana's apartment, the paramedics had already rushed off to their next emergency. They weren't the only ones overwhelmed. So too was the company tasked with removing Brown's body. Gaba says she waited 17 hours while the body of her grandmother laid on the floor.
She was sitting in the direct sun on the floor here and starting to smell, and it just seemed really not right just to leave her in the sun.
A month later, it's difficult not to blame herself.
What if I had known she wasn't able to manage this heat? What if I took her to a hotel?
But she believes the weight of that guilt should also fall on the shoulders of government officials, who she says failed to adequately warn the public of the severity of the heat wave.
She didn't know the dangers she was in.
And she finds it difficult to accept that her grandmother's life could have been saved by something as simple as air conditioning.
The weather, it's got its own nature, but we have some control of some things, and that includes building and how we build.
That's what you're looking for.
Annie Brown was fiery, kind, and meticulous, and that's how Gaba, and she hopes her children, will remember her. Joel Ballard, CBC News, North Vancouver.
Meteorologist Johanna Wagstaffe joins us now with the BC-wide forecast. Joe, before we get to our local weather, let's start with wildfires and the wind.
That's right, Dan. Things picking up as we speak across the southern interior. That's in advance of one of two low pressure systems that I know we've all seen in our forecast by now will be bringing rain to the south coast, but it's often windiest before that system passes. And that's what we're watching right now. Let me just take you to a snapshot of the satellite and radar, particularly for the West Wildfire that we're tracking just southeast of Kamloops that has crossed Highway 97. That's where the fresh evacuation orders have been issued tonight. And I'm seeing winds that were coming in from the north, shifting around to suddenly coming in from the southwest, pushing that fire northward. Right now, the Kamloops and Vernon stations only reporting gusts to sort of 10, 15 kilometers per hour. But in between those stations, I imagine we're seeing gusts over 30 kilometers per hour. And that's in advance of this front. It's the same one that has brought us, drumroll, overcast skies for the first time to the south coast. And look at that lightning strike being picked up right now along the Sunshine Coast. And we are seeing showers across the island as we speak, very scattered and very light, but they will be filling in across Metro Vancouver through the overnight. 24 degrees right now. We actually hit a 28 at YVR. It was another hot and humid day across the south coast. So this change in weather very much wanted for British Columbia. So taking you through the system, here's a snapshot tomorrow afternoon. I think our best chance of any showers for Vancouver will happen after 11 p.m. tonight, lingering through early hours tomorrow. And then I think we'll actually see some sunshine for Friday afternoon. It's the second low pressure system you can see coming in from the west. That's the one that will bring more widespread rain Saturday to the south coast. Rainfall totals across BC, not a huge system, but definitely the most rain we've seen in quite some time. This is just through to Saturday night. You can see the darker greens towards Vancouver. That's the 10 to 15 millimeter range, more like trace across the interior. But again, it's the most we've seen in quite some time. Not showing up in Kelowna's forecast for tomorrow. There is a risk of a thunderstorm for the Kootenays. We'll really see that temperature drop on Saturday for the interior. And that's our story as well. Showers Friday night through Saturday and into Sunday morning. At this point, I'm thinking 5 to 10 millimeters. This isn't drought or fire ending, but this is going to end our longest dry stretch. We are 51 days by the end of today. And Dan, as we head into early next week, we head into another heat wave. Looks like it could be hitting the 30s again in Vancouver about Wednesday or Thursday. So we'll enjoy every drop. I'll be looking for your reports.
Please do, and we'll be looking for yours, more importantly. Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
With COVID restrictions easing and more people out on our roads, Mothers Against Drunk Driving is reminding you about the dangers of getting behind the wheel after drinking or taking drugs. Parked in front of the Delta Public Safety Building, the smashed car will be on display for the next few weeks. Every day, up to 4 people are killed in impaired driving crashes. They continue to be a leading criminal cause of death in this country.
I want people to know that having a driver's license is a privilege. It's not a right. And drivers have a responsibility to keep yourself, your passengers, and other road users safe.
MAD wants everyone to remember that planning a sober ride home saves lives and prevents injuries. And you need to have a designated driver. You can call a taxi or a ride-hailing service. The federal government will be funding the renewal of the False Creek Small Craft Harbor, which provides facilities for commercial fishermen to use.
The work will renew the infrastructure that's essential to the region. It will stimulate job opportunities. It will benefit fish harvesters and support our local communities.
The money will go toward repairing the service area and planning for future reconstruction of other deteriorating areas along the shoreline. Another 1,000 kilometers of BC shoreline is slated for cleanup. $3.6 million from the Clean Coast West Waters Initiative will fund 3 new projects that will target the more remote areas of Haida Gwaii and the Discovery Islands.
Currently, in places particularly our remote and hard to reach West Coast, it is nearly waist deep with mostly plastic marine debris.
All projects will work with coastal First Nations to clean up marine debris and create 240 jobs, including 163 for young people. The Clean Coast Clean Waters Initiative has removed more than 550 tons of fishing gear, plastic, and polystyrene foam from BC's beaches. Add more hardware to the Canadians' Olympic shelf. Richmond's Evan Dunphy has just won bronze in the 50-kilometer race walk in Tokyo.
Canada's Evan Dunphy has won bronze in Tokyo 2020.
Dunphy made a late surge in the final stretch, zooming to third and on to the podium. That win comes after coming fourth at the 2016 Olympics in Rio. Dunphy won bronze at the World Championships in 2019. This is, in fact, the last time the 50-kilometer race walk will be in the Summer Olympics, but there will still be a 20-kilometer race walk in the next Games. Well done, Evan. To other sports now, kickoff for the gold medal game in women's soccer between Canada and Sweden has been pushed back because of extreme heat in Tokyo. It's now at 5 a.m. our time tomorrow. But for those who've been waiting decades to see Canada's women play for a top prize like this, it means more time for the anticipation to grow. And as Susanna De Silva reports, that excitement is especially focused on the captain, BC's own Christine Sinclair.
Takes a shot. It's in the back of the net. She's done it again. Christine Sinclair for the third straight.
It has been a long road for her and Canada's women's team since Burnaby's young phenom Christine Sinclair stepped onto the pitch for her country, filled with ups.
Christine Sinclair! She just broke the record!
And downs.
It is heartbreaking for Canada.
But 303 caps and 187 goals, more than any female or male player later. Those who saw her play early knew there was something there.
Just a simple enjoyment for the game, but had a skill and these intangible qualities.
A quiet, humble leadership that has helped shape a team now about to fight for a gold medal. A long way from the first women's team 35 years ago. A program with few resources.
You know, they'd give us the extra large jerseys, like the old men's throwaways. You want to do that and cheer for Canada?
Yeah! Carrie Serwetnik was on that team. She's the first woman inducted into Canada's Soccer Hall of Fame. She now runs programs for kids and says nationally they've learned to aim higher. And Sinclair is a big part of that, achieving amazing accomplishments even without a supporting cast the previous record holder, Abby Wambach, had with the U.S. team.
In the past, we played so much defense, and we really just did Hail Marys to Christine Sinclair. And she was the one who was taking really difficult balls and turning and just finishing so many times.
But her legacy goes far beyond what she's done on the pitch.
I think what the world needs more of right now in these moments is somebody who's trying to be a good human being while performing at the best of their ability.
She's very good at soccer, and she was quite nice because she hugged the other teammates even when they lost.
For 8-year-old Alyssa Wong, the defeat of the U.S. was a big step, and a gold medal would take it one step further.
I'm going to be very excited, and I'd be able to tell those boys that you can't just say that women can't participate in the events because we won the gold medal.
Susanna De Silva, CBC News, Vancouver.
To other sports now, Langley's Georgia Elleman finished up competition today in the women's heptathlon at the Tokyo Games.
She is the first-time Olympian, as we've noted here. This is tremendous experience, even at the age of 26.
The seventh and final event of the heptathlon was the 800-meter run. Elleman, who celebrates her 26th birthday today, finished well back in that race, though, and 20th overall in the grueling two-day event. This is her first Olympic Games. A Canadian has been crowned the world's greatest athlete after striking gold at the decathlon in Tokyo. It's Canada's fifth gold medal so far. Artie Pole takes a closer look at the medal chances to come tomorrow.
A grueling event that will go down in Canada's history. The first time our country has won gold in the decathlon. London, Ontario's Damien Warner not only landed on the podium, he also joined an elite group of athletes. Only 4 in history have ever surpassed 9,000 points in the event.
When I was in grade 6, I wrote in a school project that I'd be in the Olympics one day, and who would have knew that I'd be an Olympic gold medalist? It's crazy.
And the track will be a busy place for Canadians Friday morning, starting with the men's 5,000-meter final. 2 Canadians, Justin Knight and Mo Ahmed, placed in the top 3 of their heats. Ahmed just missed the podium in Rio, but in 2019, he got bronze in the World Athletics Championships. A medal may be within sight for Canada in the long-distance race tomorrow.
I couldn't sleep. Last night, I was just so excited and so pumped up. Got like 2 hours of sleep, but I was like, I got to try to,
refocus and get ready for the relay.
And high on a gold medal win, Andre DeGrasse is now hoping to use that momentum to propel Canada's 4x100 team to a top spot too. The relay team will hit the track for the finals Friday morning. If they reach the podium, it would be the 6th Olympic medal for DeGrasse.
We all want to win gold.
Yeah,
That's what we come here for.
We're defending Olympic bronze medalists, and we feel like we're a lot better from 2016, so we feel like we have a great shot to come away with some hardware.
Just an hour before the relay team hits the track, watch out for another Canadian. Gabriella Debut-Stafford, a Canadian record holder, will run in the women's 1,500-meter finals and could add to Canada's medal count. But there's no doubt the women's soccer team will be collecting hardware tomorrow. Canada takes on Sweden in the gold medal game at 8 a.m. Eastern. And here's a look at where the country stands. Canada now has 18 medals with 5 gold, surpassing the 4 won in Rio. The U.S. is at the top of the medal board, but China has the most gold so far with 34. Arthi Pol, CBC News, Toronto.
So as we know, the Tokyo Games are still on, and CBC is home to those games. That does mean some changes to our programming today and tomorrow. A half-hour edition of our newscast will be on CBC Television at 3 p.m. with Anita Bath. Then at 6 p.m., we'll stream a 30-minute edition on CBC Gem, Facebook, and YouTube, as well as our website, cbc.ca/BC. Our late and weekend newscasts are taking a break, but everything is back to normal as of Monday. Thanks for joining us this evening. You can always find our news program online, as we said, cbc.ca/BC. Our next local news is on the early edition on CBC Radio 1. That starts tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Anita will be here in the chair tomorrow night at 6 p.m. and you might as well wake up for the game tomorrow, 5 a.m., women going for gold. All the best. Good night.